Welcome back to Figs Talks Fights. I'm your host, Brian Figueiredo. Today we're going to get into UFC 256 taking place tomorrow night at the UFC Apex Center, Saturday, December the 12th. Going to be a great championship fight between Deiveson Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno. Okay? In the co-main event, you got Tony Ferguson taking on Charles Oliveira. Damn, that's another exciting fight. So let's get right into it. Look, Deiveson Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno, they only fought at the last pay-per-view. UFC 255, 3 weeks ago. And they're going to headline back-to-back pay-per-views. I mean, I guess there wasn't a headliner in UFC 1 or UFC 2, 3, 4. Okay, not until UFC 5 it was Royce Gracie versus Ken Shamrock. But I think the only numbered UFC pay-per-view events headlined by the same guy 2 in a row has been Deiveson Figueiredo, and a hell of a last name he's got too. Remember, that's Figueiredo, not Figueiredo, okay? How these guys stack up against each other, I mean, look, Brandon Moreno, okay, has a shit ton of grit. He's decent on inside boxing and getting in, a great grappler, great scrambler, very exciting fighter, but that killer instinct is nowhere near on the par of Deiveson Figueiredo. Not saying Brandon Moreno doesn't have a chance to win. Of course he does. These are two high-level athletes. Pin dropping in the cage, anything can happen. But Deiveson Figueiredo, he's putting together extremely hard, long shots, coming after his opponent, making scrambles happen. I mean, in his last fight, just 3 weeks ago against Alex Perez, that transition he had, just jumping in on a inverted, jumping in on that heel hook that he had, right from the ground, making that transition, taking the back, scrambling, sneaking the neck on Alex Perez, choking him out, and it seemed like an even high guillotine. Most guillotines, you want to catch him right here, cut the blood off, but it looked like he had pressure underneath here and the back of his head. I thought Alex Perez was slipping out, but like Deiveson Figueiredo, very creative with his guillotine choke, so interesting to see how this one's going to match up. I'm going to favor Deiveson Figueiredo just because he has got that jaw clinch ready to bite and kill. Sink down on you, all right? Suck the blood out. He is the meanest guy I've seen fight at 125 pounds. Mighty Mouse Johnson, by far the greatest flyweight we've ever seen, okay? 11 title defenses. What more can you say positive about Mighty Mouse, okay? But Deiveson Figueiredo, this is just, I mean, like what? Vanderlei Silva in the 2003 to 2006 era? Coming in majorly aggressive. So, let's see how this one plays out. Your co-main event, you got Tony Ferguson coming back since his first loss since back in 2012 to Michael Johnson. Losing to Justin Gaethje just last May. In the first UFC that they came back since the pandemic started in Florida. I believe it was May 12th. Correct me if I'm wrong. But anyhow, nonetheless, Justin Gaethje had a great performance against Tony Ferguson. I think Tony Ferguson thought he could out-grit Justin Gaethje, outwork him, outsmart him. Didn't happen. Justin Gaethje had the fight of his life that night. Incredible performance. Tony Ferguson, I mean, he had his moments in there, but you could just tell by the time he wanted to kick it into second or third gear or change up the game plan, he was already too beat up. I don't know if we're going to see Tony Ferguson be gun-shy tonight. I doubt it. But after a loss like that, you never know how a guy is going to come back. Okay? Or if he's just going to be the same old Tony, aggressive, mixing it up. I mean, he's got hard shots, very unorthodox. He's not in there like a standard boxing position. He keeps his hands down. He's switching stances on you all the time. He's getting creative out there. He's making you think constantly. Charles Oliveira, on the other hand, 7-fight win streak, coming in off the first no-crowd UFC event of the year, and was the last before they had to shut down for 9 weeks for the pandemic, against Kevin Lee. He chokes Kevin Lee out in the third round in Brazil just this past March. Look, Charles Oliveira's look great. His Muay Thai is looking slick. Just the way he's mixing everything up. And you can tell he is throwing hard shots. You can tell everything's hurting from this guy. He's putting his knees together, great kicks together. And I mean, another one of these guys to just grab that bite for a strangle on you. Any kind of a submission that he can grab on you, he'll rip it up. But we're talking Tony Ferguson here. Tony Ferguson is a ground wizard himself. If anything, I am hoping that we get to see some grappling exchanges between these two guys because it is interesting as hell. But this is a crossroads for Tony Ferguson. You staying in title contention, or are we going to be a name fighter fighting other name fighters the rest of his career? And Charles Oliveira, I mean, he burst onto the scene back in 2010. He's been in the UFC for over 10 years. He's had some weight cutting issues, both at 155 and at 145. Is this finally going to be his breakout moment? 8 fight win streak in the UFC's 155-pound division, anybody's 155-pound division. I mean, that is no small feat. If he can pull it off, how can you cannot ignore him talking about title contention anymore in the future. So interesting to see. But Tony Ferguson, I think he will outgrit Charles Oliveira. Anytime you see Charles Oliveira, I don't want to call him a quitter, okay? This guy's been in the UFC for over 10 years, okay? The best workouts I've ever had in my entire life probably can't even match his worst. He's a high-level athlete, very, very skilled guy. But when the going gets tough, we've seen him fade quite a few times, and may explain why he misses weight a lot too. If Tony Ferguson can give Charles Oliveira some doubt in here, maybe Tony Ferguson's fight to run with, but we'll see. It's a great card all around. I think the card's opening up with Cyril Gane versus JDS, Junior Dos Santos. Man, Junior Dos Santos is coming off a 3-fight knockout loss streak. Not good. And with all the cuts happening in the UFC, I mean, he's probably fighting for his 6-figure paycheck job here tonight. Okay? Or tomorrow night, I should say. So it's going to be a great card. Last card of the year. I understand UFC normally stacks them, but hey, a Figueiredo is headlining. I'm happy as hell. And flyweight is exciting again. Looks like we may have a dominant champion, or we're going to get some parity. One way or the other. Can't wait. So until next time, see you on this channel, and